little sip of something.
Sure.
Very good.
Okay, tonight we have Mr. Greg Smith, one of the most in-demand bassists in the business. He's had a wide range of people he's played with, from punk rocker Wendy O. Williams to Billy Joel. And thanks again, Greg, for doing this with me. I so appreciate this.
No problem, man. I appreciate you asking me, So
Oh, that's great.
happy to be here.
So, what do you got? Some scheduled days off for the holiday now, or?
Well, I'm technically on the road with the Happy Together tour, which is it's all these oldies bands from the '60s mainly. Initially, it started with Flo and Eddie and the Turtles, and unfortunately, okay, and the Eddie guy, um, he uh, he had health issues, so he bagged out a while ago, and then to take his place, they got um you know, Ron Dante from the Archies.
Yeah.
You know? So he's been covering him now for about 5, 6, maybe 7 years at this point. And unfortunately, Mark Volman passed away late last year. And yeah, that kind of sucked. He was a sweetheart, absolute sweet. Anybody who knew him just absolutely loved him. But in their honor, we continued on with this tour, and it's boy, it's the Cowsills, who have been there since about 2015. Gary Puckett, who is if I'm not mistaken, I think he's 84.
Oh.
Um, the guy's in better shape than anybody, like half his age. Um, great guy. We have the Association, who are absolutely kicking ass every night. Um, we have the Fortunes. We have two UK bands, the Fortunes and the Trogs, and that's a lot of fun, And both those bands actually have bass players, so I sit on the side of the stage and watch those guys. Um, but yeah, it's a whole lot of fun because you know what? For me, I'm 63 years old. It reminds me of being in the back of my dad's 1960 Ford Falcon, listening to AM radio
Me too.
and hearing all those songs. And to me, it's like super cool to not only play those songs with the artists. A lot of the guys are still the original. Some of the original guys are still there, but you know, and become friends with these guys too. Which is it's like really very cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So anyway, I'm on a break on that. We had like a month-long break, and then I did a couple of shows with the Voyage band that I'm part of, and so now
last on
we're I
Friday.
think the 13th we're back out. We do the West Coast and and all that.
So, uh, I, the way I imagined that the Happy Together tour was, I thought maybe they all just had like their vocalist, and then you guys were the backup band. Is that how that works, or did they
For
have
the most
one?
part, yeah, for the most part, there's only a couple of bands that I don't play bass with, like for instance, the Fortunes and the Trogs. They have bass players, so um, I don't play with them. And of course, Jason Sheff from Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
who sang with Chicago for 30 years, took Peter Cetera's place.
Yeah.
He's a badass bass player, but I'm needed on stage for vocals. So, I wasn't going to stand up there like Tracy Partridge and shake a tambourine, or be like Art Garfunkel and sit on a chair and sing background vocals. So, I picked up a rhythm guitar, and I'm just playing like simple chords behind him and singing the background vocals. And boy, that's a lot of fun for me too. I mean, I can play a little bit of guitar, not very well, but good enough to do that bit.
Sure, sure. That sounds like
Yeah.
a great gig. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a lot of fun.
it'd be a lot of fun to do something like that.
Yeah.
I've always thought that or picking up like a traditional blues thing, where you just go out there and just let it all hang out, and just have
Yeah.
a night and just play. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
sure.
technical
Sure.
proficiency, just play.
Yeah.
You
No, and the thing is I play guitar like a bass player.
know?
You
Well, I play bass like a guitar player.
know? Yeah. Yeah.
So, you've worked with a lot of big names like, Ted Nugent, Alice Cooper, and Blue Oyster Cult, the Guess Who, Billy Joel, Dawkins. Now, this Wizards of Winter, is that like a Siberian orchestra type?
Well, there's three ex-members of Trans-Siberian from,
Oh,
back in the early days. So it's if I can describe it in any way, shape, or form, it's sort of like a maybe a more prog TSO,
oh,
you
nice.
know, a little bit more prog. And it's one of the things I like about it. It's very unapologetically Merry Christmas.
Good.
There's none of that happy holiday stuff. We're like, Merry Christmas, baby. Come on. Let's get into that Santa Claus shit, baby. Come on. You so so
So,
I like it. And boy, everybody gets along so well and it's so much fun. And for me, it's different because it's a five-string gig, you
okay.
know.
Yeah,
I generally, okay, see with Billy Joel and when I was doing Billy's show on Broadway, I'd play a few songs on the five, but that particular gig is all five string, you know. So, and look, five string is to me it's a tool you need to have in your toolbox. And as a bass player, hey, look, man, I'm playing whether it's an upright or a five string or whatever the hell, if that's what the gig calls for, that's what I'm doing,
sure.
you know.
I mean, you've
But
been doing this a
you know,
long time.
yeah, but I am a purist. I am a like, give me you can look behind me if you can see that's nothing but Fenders sitting back there,
Hmm.
Fender four strings. And that's really where my heart and soul is, and that's, where I prefer to be.
That's nice, man.
Mhm.
Uh, did you take Jeff Pilson's spot when in Dokken, or was he
Oh
already
no,
gone?
Jeff had been gone for a while at that point.
'Cause he was playing
Um,
Foreigner for a while now.
yeah, well, but Jeff, yeah, of course, yeah. But no, Jeff had been out of there for a while, and God, I met Jeff way before I even knew the guys in Dokken. I met Jeff through Tommy Henriksen. So when I first started with Alice Cooper in '91, Jeff had a band called War and Peace, I think it was called. And Tommy Henriksen was playing bass, and I forget who else was in the band. There's some other guys who were semi well known too. But either way, that's where I got to know Jeff really well, and it was before I knew anybody else in Dokken. And it wasn't I didn't know the rest of like Don or even Mick until later on, about 2007, when John Levin, who he and I had played together on Long Island as kids,
Wow.
recommended me because I guess Barry Sparks had bagged out or something, and they needed somebody to sing and play, and so he recommended me, and you know that's when I first started to get into that.
Wow, that's really cool.
Hmm.
So, uh, who did you was your like your first major tour with when you
Wendy Williams, the Plasmatics,
was it
back in
the
'84 when I was 21 years old, and I remember I was 21, and I remember like the to me I was like, oh man, I got to listen to the old guys. They're experienced. The old guys were 30.
yeah, yeah, when you're
I was like,
21, yeah, they're old.
shut up, learn, listen, and learn. And that's kind of what I did. And that's if any advice I could give to any young musician is shut up, listen, and learn. You
There you
know?
go. So what was it like? You were with Rainbow for a while also.
Yeah, 94 to 97. Yep.
How
Hmm.
was that working with Richie
I
Blackmore?
loved Richie. Richie and I got along amazing. I was living in Long Island at the time, as was he. And boy, I mean, we'd probably go out to dinner like three times a week.
Wow.
With his wife Candace, who was his girlfriend at the time, and my wife Chrissy. They got along, wonderfully, and we just get together and hang out all the time. And for me, okay, so I was a huge Rainbow fan,
Me too.
a Purple fan. I mean, like to me, it was like one of the things that started me playing, but I never let Richie know that because I knew that he would mistreat me and have less respect for me if he knew that I was a big fan of his. So
Really?
when I joined the band, he just thought of me as like, oh well, he's it's like professional guy who played with Alice Cooper and Bloister Cult and all that stuff, which was true, you know, but I just let him think that about me. And I was like, I'd be hanging out with him, go like, yeah, man, how's it going? But meanwhile, I'd be like, fuck, it's Richie. But he never saw that. Um, I don't mind saying that now. For years, I would never say that in interviews and stuff like that because I thought, well, maybe we might play together again, but at this point, I'm sure that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Um, so I have no problem, saying that. Richie, I was a huge fan. I still am. And there you go.
I mean,
Okay,
another.
here's a funny story. So years after I quit, I left the band when the band basically broke up, really, So I think I was doing Billy Joel's thing on Broadway, and me and my wife went to a Renaissance fair in Lancaster, right? And so turns out Richie's there. Now I hadn't seen him in a number of years, right? And so
Lancaster,
the la-
PA,
yeah, the last time
huh?
he saw me, my hair was like really, really long, and my hair now was like about shoulder length, you know. And so um Richie's walking up this hill, and I'm going to get my car. I had a little pickup truck at the time. And I see him and I go, fuck, I gotta say hi. I'm like, hey Richie. And he turns around and he waves to me. He thinks I'm like some fan. And I go, it's Greg. And then he turns around, looks, and goes, he runs down the hill and trips and falls and does a tumble. And then to myself, I'm thinking to myself, Richie Blackmore, rock legend, falling down the hill to say hello to me.
That's
What kind of
hilarious.
world am I living in right now?
That's hilarious. Well, he's known for having a pretty strong personality at times, and
Well, I gotta say, he and I always got along famously. We always got along really, really well,
that's
you
good.
know. So he never had any issues with me. He never yelled at me. He never gave me any shit. And I just delivered every night.
Right.
So
That's probably why.
yeah.
And Ted's always got that larger than life personality
Oh,
too.
of course. Well, the same thing with him too. If you deliver every night, he's not going to have an issue with you.
Right, right.
He never ever. As a matter of fact, we talk all the time still.
That's
Um,
great.
you know, uh, yeah, he and I. As a matter of fact, he's playing up here in at Penn's Peak, kind of close to where I live,
Hmm.
and I happen to be home. It's on like a Thursday night or something like that. So I got to call him and go, "Hey, man, you're in my backyard. Got to bring me up for a song."
There you go.
So, and he will. I mean, he's always done that. Like whenever, like we play in Detroit and or in Nashville when Derek St. Holmes is there, or anybody who's been in his band for years. And I was his longest lasting band member in the history of the Ted Nugent,
You
you
know,
know,
I just read
organization.
that the other day. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
doing a little bit of research so we could
yeah.
talk.
And
I was like,
you,
wow.
it is true. It's crazy. I did the math myself. Like, Derek St. Holmes has been in and out over the years, and he was the guy who was like the longest guy, but like I think I even beat him out if you add up all his stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah. And um, the one drummer that was in Black Oak, Arkansas, I can't, Tommy Aldridge,
oh, Tommy
he was
Aldrich,
in, he
yeah.
was
Uh-huh.
with him for quite a while too.
For quite a long time. Yes, on and off, yeah.
And then
And Mendoza, Marco Mendoza was there for a long time as
yeah,
well.
yeah. And
Um
then Jason
yeah.
Hartless has been with him for a long time, off and on,
He's yeah, he might end up rivaling me, at some point.
You
So
guys together were just incredible, man. When I saw
yeah.
him, I seen Ted, and I've seen him, probably
Yep.
30 times over the
Mhm.
years.
Right,
And
right.
and
Yeah, Jason is and I first met him when he was about 18 or some shit. He was opening up
he was
for us.
very young.
And he was great. He was like this great young kid and stuff like that. But all right, so in all, honesty, when he first got into the band, right? And look, I knew he was a great drummer and he was a good kid and everything like that, but you know, I mean, he was taking my best friend's place, man, Mick Brown. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
Mick was like my best friend, man, and I was just kind of like, whatever. But, you know, after like a couple of months, he and I were like super tight and everything was cool. But initially, I was just like, man, oh man, it's my best friend. What the fuck? But that was Ted's call, and for whatever reason it was, and look, Mick is retired now anyway. I mean, so
right, right.
no. But you know what? Mick had a very unique feel with Ted's music. You know what I mean? He had a bounce to his playing. which
Hmm.
like, okay, so the original drummer didn't oh God, what was his name? The
Cliff Davies.
Cliff Davies. He was more of a jazz drummer, man, and he had a very straight kind of feel to him, and he was absolutely badass. But Mick added like a this bounce to his playing, man. And Mick didn't even know that he had that to his playing.
Right.
Mick
Not a
Mick was
jazz
just
swing, but just a bounce. I
no,
get what you mean.
Mick had no idea what he was doing. He just did it,
Yeah.
you know? I'll never forget. There was one time where Mick and I were playing, and we would during Wang Dang, we would just like stretch out and go crazy. And I decided to go nuts. I started going over the bar line and doing like crazy, like even fucking jazzy weird shit. And I threw him off, you know. And he was like, "Hey man, don't tell anybody I fucked up, man. I'm supposed to be this good drummer and all." Fucking
Oh,
Mick, you know. But boy, well, I mean, what an amazing feel he had. He had this bounce to his playing that was unlike any other drummer that Ted played with. And in my opinion, I felt it really worked.
oh yeah, it did.
Yeah,
I
but
really does.
it was up to the big guy when the big guy was, he wanted something different, then, that was it. So,
That's that's got to be a hard call to make, though. I mean, you've worked
yeah.
with guys, and then you go, we're gonna go a
Yeah,
different direction
but
here.
he was in the band for 10 plus years, I think, or something like that. Um, but and I think at that point too, Mick was getting um, his physical limitations were starting to like I know his like man, sometimes I'd see his elbow and it was like twice the size, you know what I mean? He got like this tennis elbow shit and it was really
Arthritis.
bad. And yeah, and I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
got it from
even
him.
now, even now when I see him, man, he's got arthritis and shit. And that's why he stopped playing.
Yeah, yeah.
He said it just hurt too much. So we
That was
talk
one
all
of
the
the
time. As a matter of fact, I'll be in Phoenix in a couple of weeks and we're gonna hang out, have lunch and stuff.
They said that was one of the reasons Neil Peart wanted to stop touring was because he
Yeah.
was getting arthritis and
Mhm.
it wasn't working for him, and he felt like
Yeah.
he wasn't playing at a level that was satisfying to him. You know.
Right. And and that's another thing too. You know what I mean? You have to be satisfied with your own playing every night.
Yeah.
I know for myself, if I wasn't, oh my God, if I felt like I was less than my best, I'd consider it myself. My God. Thankfully, oh my God,
Yeah.
thankfully, everything still works.
So back, let's go back to the very beginning when you were just a kid and stuff. What was like? Did you have a certain influence or a
Oh
band
God, yeah.
that was your
Yeah.
like your?
Yeah. Well, of course it was, Deep Purple, you
Hmm.
know, and then, later on, Glenn Hughes, listening to him sing and play, I was like, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
Um, and then, but Geezer Butler, Black Sabbath,
Hmm.
Geddy Lee,
Yeah.
you know, um, uh, 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 Gary Thane from Uriah Heep,
Hmm.
you know, all these guys were like such big influences to me. Like I, I would just fucking steal everything they did and turn it into my own thing. You know what I mean? And well, I kind of guess that's what everybody does, right? You
Yeah,
know,
you're all
and then
creeps.
later on, I didn't know about the Beatles and everything like that. Later on, I got into McCartney and Motown and added that into the rock and roll thing too. And then it just really changed the way I played. So
That's great. That's
yeah.
great. Yeah, that's so. Was there what was like maybe the first concert you ever saw that
Oh, okay. Yeah,
you go, I
this is a
got to
good one.
do this.
Oh, okay. Well, and this is before I ever started playing. It's 1973. I was 10 years old. I saw David Cassidy at the Nassau Coliseum in New York. And okay, so all right, so like prior to this, I wanted to be a baseball player, and I was a crazy New York Mets fan. Okay, so the New York Mets lost to the Oakland A's that year, if you remember. That was the mustache A's. Remember they all like
Hmm.
the big old mustaches and shit. And so they lost to the A's, and I was so fucking pissed off. I was so like I was beside myself, man.
Yeah.
And so that same year, my parents took me and my sister to see David Cassidy at the Nassau Coliseum, and all I heard was girls screaming and yelling, and I went, "That's a cool job." And I was like, all right. So then, like after that, that's what got me into music a little bit more. I was into music, but I got even more into it, and then so in '76 now, my sister, whose birthday is in April, mine's in May, she got a guitar for her birthday, and then she goes, "Hey, let's start a band. You can play bass." I went, "Okay." So the next month I got a bass for my birthday, some cheap little freaking, Japanese thing that probably cost my parents $50.
Yeah.
And I went, how come it only has four strings on it? So we both started taking lessons. She quit after like 2 weeks. And by some strange quirk of fate, I picked it up really, really quickly. And within 3 months, I was in a band. Within 4 months, I was playing my first gig.
Wow.
But if she would have said piano or drums, I might have sucked, and I might be a dentist now or some shit. I don't know, you know. But by some strange quirk of fate, I picked up the bass and it came easy to me. So
Do you, hey, let's go back to the Guess Who days.
okay.
Was either Randy or Burton Cummings in the band then?
No, no.
No.
Well, it was Gary Peterson, the drummer, the original
Right.
drummer. Yeah.
Right. I
So
think
he was.
they had like lawsuit thing going because
Oh yeah.
I just
All right. All right.
uh
You ready? Buckle up because I got a story for you.
okay.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take a sip of beer right now
Oh, no worries.
because telling this story, this is wild. All right. So now, 2004. I'm playing with the Guess Who. We're having so much fun, man. The band is so fucking good. Derek Sharp on vocals, Michael Sterto, Teddy Zigzag, my old Alice Cooper bandmate, on keys, you
Oh,
know, and Gary Peterson, the original drummer, 80 years old, absolutely killing it every night. I mean, absolutely killing it every night, laying it down, man. Big old groove and everything. I was just like, wow, I want to be you when I grow up. And so now, what happens is the band is doing really good. We got almost 100 gigs on the books for 2024. Um, and look, whatever. I don't want to get into it too much because I don't know all the BS, but you know, um, all those original members, man, they fucking hate each other, and they started suing each other. Long story short, the tour gets canceled. Um, so I was supposed to do this Happy Together tour that I'm doing this year, and I turned it down because I had this, all this work with, you know, um, with Guess Who. So now I'm home for the first time in over 20 years in the summer. Usually I'm on a bus. I'm like doing something. So I figure, fuck it. I'm going to go to all the doctors, man. I got insurance, whatever. Might as well just, at the time I was 61. It's like, fuck it, man. Check it all out. So, go to the butt doc. I go to the skin doc. I go to the eye doc. I go to all the docs. I go to the heart doc. I do like a stress test, right? They go, comes back a little weird. We want to do like a catheter test with dye. So they go, in through my wrist, and I'm with my wife, and I figure we're gonna go out to lunch afterwards and stuff. They go, "You're not going anywhere. You are blocked, 99% blocked in your Widowmaker, 75 in another, 65 in another.
holy cow.
You're only going to the next available operating room." And so I had a triple bypass two years ago.
Oh my goodness.
So essentially, here's the thing. Um, my thing is like, hey, Burton Cummings, thanks for being an asshole. You saved my life.
I just saw them last night
Really?
in Chicago. Yeah.
Okay.
They're the only two. They're calling it the Guess Who.
Yeah, I know, I know, I
They're
know.
the
Because
only
well,
two.
because Gary had no choice but to. Okay, so what, when they did the lawsuit stuff. All right, so to get back to that a little bit, um, Burton, who over the years got all the publishing for all the songs, even he didn't write. And so he's with BMI. He pulled his songs from BMI. which means that the blanket license that goes, for like any band that plays any theater, arena, club, even, you know, um, that blanket license, they pay for that blanket license. This way, they're, bands or artists are able to play the songs. So he pulled it from BMI, which basically meant that any of our shows, that blanket license didn't apply anymore. Nobody's ever done that in the history of music.
Wow.
So basically, he shot himself in the foot. So that meant that he wasn't getting any royalties either.
Mm.
But it effectively cut off Gary Peterson's income.
Oh.
So now, he's not making money from the gigs, and he's not making whatever royalties he does from whatever he wrote, you know, which I think is only a couple songs anyway, but it was like pretty substantial, like American Woman and shit like that.
They
So now
had
this
big
poor
hits
guy,
then, yeah.
he's 80 years old, and now he has a no income, and he's in danger of losing his house because Burton did pull this nuclear option so he
Mm.
can get back the name. So Gary had no choice but to sell back the name to them. Or I don't even think he sold it back to him. I think he just gave it back to him. It's like, oh, please just, you know, let the songs back on BMI so I can get my royalties and shit. And poor Gary, 80 years old, still kicking ass, still playing drums like a badass. Now he'll never play drums again, which is sad, you know? So, yeah, man, and my thing is this, man. Okay, look, these guys are 20 plus years older than me, but man, there's enough meat on that bone for all you guys to fucking play this shit and make money and have a good time. Why do you gotta fuck each other? You know what I mean? Come on.
Well,
Uh,
and I'll tell you this, and my wife pointed it out to me too as well. We were watching them last night, and
yeah,
this is probably going to be their last hurrah, anyways. I mean,
yeah,
it
man.
it was if it wasn't for the backup guys that they had with them.
I know, man.
I
Well,
mean,
look,
I don't mean to be critical, but
Randy's sitting on a stool, you
hmm
know, and Burton puts all the keys like down at least a whole step.
yeah,
Um, look, when we were doing it, we were doing the songs justice, man. And we did it in the original keys, and Derek Sharp, you know, what an amazing singer. You know, and we all love the band, man. We all love the band. We wanted to do the songs justice. So, when that vitriol came at us, we were just kind of like, we don't understand this, man. Like, you know what? Look, Burton, why don't you fucking reach out and be friends? You can come out and play any time you want, man. Come do half the fucking set, man. Same thing with Randy. Come on, do half the set, man. We love you. We're fans of you. You know what? Why do you got to be like angry and fuck poor Gary? You know.
yeah,
I mean, forget about us. The rest of us, look, man, I'm fine. I don't give a. I'm working all the time with a gazillion different bands. But poor
exactly.
Gary, that guy deserved to play until he couldn't play anymore, man. And that breaks my heart because he's a sweetheart of a guy. He
Yeah.
really is a sweetheart of a guy.
See,
You know.
Randy kind of pulled that kind of thing too here at the Gary Hard Rock Casino here in Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
He put it out that it was BTO. It was not BTO. It was Bachman, and that's it.
Well, of course. Well, there's no Turner, right?
Well,
There's no Turner, right?
did he
No,
pass?
because BT. No, Fred Turner's still around. He just doesn't
Okay.
tour anymore, though.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
I ran into Randy on the Rock Legends tour.
Hmm.
Me and the wife were in the elevator, and all of a sudden his band and everybody loads up in the elevator.
Yeah.
I noticed Randy right away. I said, "Hey,
Hmm.
Randy, how are you?" He just sat
Yeah.
there stoic,
Yeah. Yeah.
wouldn't
Yeah.
say a word.
Yeah.
It's like
And you know what? It breaks my heart because I'm huge fans of both of those
me
guys.
too,
You
man.
know, and
I
and
grew
so
up
like
listening
when
to them.
when they when they like actually really came after us, like even individually and collectively, I was like, it broke my heart. I was like, I love you guys. Why are you guys coming after me, man? You
Yeah.
know, like look me up, man. You can see I'm a pro. What the fuck, man? I've done a bunch of different shit, man. So whatever. But they decided to take that route, and it's disappointing, you know.
You also have a connection with Vinnie Moore as well, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I did his Meltdown album, and prior to that we did a bunch of like NAMM shows and stuff like that together. you know.
Nice. Yeah, he's a
But
great player.
I love Vinny. I love Vinny. You know what's funny? When he and I both got into Alice's band, you can probably if you look it up, you see there's like a the Hey Stupid video, right?
Mhm.
I mean, neither of us played on that track, but we did the video. And it's really because both of us had the same hair at the time, you know. We were both like in our like late 20s and had this big hair, and neither our parents or family could tell the two of us apart in the video, you know. You'd have to look at the headstock of the guitar to see whether it's four or six strings, you know.
Uh,
But
did
yeah, I
you?
still talk to Vinny quite a bit. I do owe him a call because there's something I want to talk about that, may or may not happen. We'll see.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't want to say anything, but you know,
Well,
yeah.
never know. I don't know if them guys are still touring in UFO anymore. I know they lost the bass player, Pete White.
Yeah. No, I don't think they're doing that, but Vinny's doing his, solo stuff and doing some stuff in Europe, and that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Nice.
doing something with another like really great guitar player that I want to kind of hook them up together, and maybe we all go and have fun in Europe, and you know
Why not?
eat bratwurst and have a good time.
Uh, was Jolin Turner in Rainbow at the time when you played?
Oh no, no, no.
Oh, he
Joey
did
wasn't
some
in
work with
Rainbow
you.
when I played, but I actually played on most of Joey's solo albums.
Okay, that's
you
what I
know.
was getting at.
But Joey and I know each other for a long, long time. So, what's really strange, like before I actually played with Rainbow, I played with Joey, I played with Chuck Berge, and I also played with David Rosenthal. So when before I met Richie, I heard all about Richie from all those guys. So I was prepared, man. You know what I mean? I was totally prepared you know. But yeah, Joey and I we worked together quite a bit and then we worked together in something called Over the Rainbow, which was like basically a reformation of Rainbow with Blackmore's son, Jurgen.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
never
you didn't
heard
know
that.
about that? Yeah,
No,
yeah, look that up. It's
I
pretty
will.
cool. We toured all over. Actually, all of us have seen more of Russia than most Russians, to be honest with you. We did all over Eastern Europe and Western Europe, and we even toured the States. We did a little mini tour in the States too. But the band was so good. Band was so good. Initially, it started with it was me, Bobby Rondinelli, Joe Lynn, Jurgen, and Tony Carey.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So here's a funny thing with Tony Carey, and I don't think he would ever probably mention this, but okay, so me being a huge Rainbow fan, his first tour with us, he showed up, slightly unprepared, to say, and so we one of our first shows was 5,000 seat place in oh geez, I don't even know where, somewhere in Eastern Europe. Um, anyway, so and he was making mistakes and stuff. And so now, like, it was during, I think, the drum solo, and I'm on the side of the stage, and I'm fucking yelling at Tony Carey. And I'm going, man, what the fuck? You didn't fucking learn your shit, and what the fuck, And then finally I went, and you know what? Fuck you for making me yell at you because I'm a huge fan of you, and it's really uncomfortable, man. And then he goes like this, he said after the show, he goes, you're a pugnacious little fuck, but you're right.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of talent there.
Yeah. I was like, it was like really uncomfortable for me to be yelling at him, man. I was like, I'm a huge fan of you, man, and I got to yell at you. What the fuck is this? You know?
Well, that takes care of one of the questions I had. Some
Yeah.
funny stories you could tell.
I love Tony though, man. I fucking love Tony. He's so talented and so good. I mean, and he's just like, you know what? Honestly, even though like he wasn't really anyway. To be, honest, the mistakes that he made, nobody would know. It was just stuff that I, like me and the guys in the band would know, but it wasn't really a mistake. It was just wasn't really what exactly was supposed to he was be playing. So yeah, but he's so fucking good that he can not know his shit and still come in and kill it. You know what I mean? So
So now, you've been a sideman for so long and stuff. How did that get started? I mean, how did you get indoctrinated into that? I mean,
Um, well, I mean, it wasn't sort of something I really set out to do. I mean, when I was a kid, I thought I'd be, in the next Van Halen by the time I was 22 and, you know, be
didn't get
loaded
there.
and a millionaire by that time. But of course that didn't happen. But, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think, okay. So yeah, it was with Wendy Williams, with the Plasma 84,
Hmm.
um, and, oh boy, everybody knew who she was from the Plasmatics, and I was 21, and I was just happy to be part of that, and I did that tour. I mean, when you're 21, asked to do a big rock and roll tour, I mean, at least for me, that was a big rock and roll tour, and of course you're gonna say yes. And then I actually left Wendy's band to do a band with John Levin from Dokken, but
Hmm.
of course, way before he was in that, he was a Long Island guy who I knew, and we started this band, and we played all over New York City, and I had all the labels courting us, and liked the band and stuff, and but it- you know, here's here's a funny thing. Okay, so Clive Davis just passed, right?
Hmm.
So we had Clive Davis. He liked the band. He wanted to sign us, but he goes, these guys need a keyboard player. So he sent his guy Nicky, one of his A&R guys, to see us. And he goes, if they have a keyboard player, sign them. So Nicky shows up at one of our gigs, and Nicky goes, where's the keyboard player? We go, oh, we decided we didn't need one. Missed out on the Arista deal.
Oops.
Didn't get fucking signed. And then right after that, apparently, I guess, unbeknownst to us, all the other labels heard that Arista passed, and then all of them, all the rest of them peeled off. And then John Levin at that point went on to Warlock, and that band just fell apart. But
Yeah.
yeah, we came that close.
So,
But yeah, anyway, so then after that, then okay, so then I started playing with Vinnie Moore, did his album, and I was playing out at the NAMM show in California, and Alice Cooper's um A&R guy and personal assistant came to see. They walked into our booth. We were playing at the Premiere booth because Joe Franco was the drummer. We were at the Premiere drums booth, and they liked me and Vinnie Moore, and they asked us to be part of the band. And it basically was kind of funny because um, it wasn't like, hey, would you like to audition for Alice Cooper? It was basically, would you like to be in Alice Cooper's band? And the thing is, like, okay, so prior to that, Al Pitrelli, who I grew up in Long Island with, we played together in a million different, situations. He was in the band. And so I was like, oh man, I'd love to be in that band. Oh crap, man, I'd kill that gig. So all my friends knew that. So when Alice's manager called me, I thought it was friends of mine fucking with me. And they're like, hey, we saw you play out at NAMM, and we think you'd be a great fit for Alice. Would you like to be in the band? I was like, yeah, sure. And I threw out a number. Give me this amount of money per week and send me a plane ticket. They were like, okay, we can do that. And then I was like, oh crap, I lowballed myself.
oops.
And once I realized it was a real thing, I was like, oh crap, you know.
So now, in that situation, is it more of a word of mouth, or do managers reach out to you, or you reach out to them?
Well,
And
you know what? A lot of times it's word of mouth. It's like, you play with a certain band or in a certain situation, you do a good job, um, you show up, you know your shit, you're not an asshole, and that's it. That's really kind of how you get gigs. It's like show up, do your shit great, and don't be a dick.
there you go.
A lot of people fuck up that last bit,
Yeah, that's for sure.
you know.
Yeah, I've dealt with that in local bands here.
Yeah, man, it's so funny how people fuck that last bit up. I always say like to students, like I used to teach for a little while, like show up knowing the material better than the person who wrote it. You know, be on time and don't be a dick. If you can do those three things, then you're going to be successful, honestly.
Truer words could not be spoken.
You know.
So if you uh what was like so I mean you've done thousands and thousands of gigs. So which does anyone stand out as like this is the gig, man? Like
Well, I gotta say, Billy Joel at Madison Square Garden, with McCartney on one side and the Stones on the other, you know, and my God, it was just like you're up there on stage going, you don't want to fuck this up, you know? And so, you know what I had to compartmentalize? I just sort of, because, like Billy, I've known Billy since like 89. And, all the guys in his band are like really close friends of mine. His guitar player is my daughter's godfather.
Oh,
And so I compartmentalized. I didn't like look out. I didn't think about the 2 billion people that were watching it across the world. I didn't think about the people who are on the side of the stage. I just went, I'm on stage with my friends. I know the material. I'm just going to kick ass on this and do it. And that's what I did. I freaked out later. you
yeah. I
know?
guess yeah, that would have to be the mentality you go with it,
Yeah,
because it would be mind blowing. I mean, to me, as
yeah,
just a
yeah,
amateur guy, that would just
yeah.
blow my mind. Like, oh no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was kind of mind blowing, but I just, like I said, I compartmentalized and went, right, I'm here with my buddies on stage, and I'm playing an arena, whatever. I played arenas before. I didn't think that it was Madison Square Garden, the most famous arena, but I've played arenas before. Fuck it, whatever, big deal, you know.
So, do you have like a worst gig that was like, oh, nothing went right?
Uh, Not necessarily. I mean, you always have like weird gigs where like the monitors are fucked up or whatever, and but you get through it and stuff. I can't think of anything that was like where I like totally fucked up,
Oh yeah.
you know.
You know,
Not offhand. Oh, okay, wait. Okay, this is the closest thing to it. I was doing a gig in Red Bank, New Jersey with Tommy James, who I've been with for 26 years now. And all right, so normally I bring like I'll bring a bass with me, but then the backline company has a spare bass. Okay, so they didn't bring a spare bass. And it was about 100 degrees and like 100% humidity. And I was sweating off my arms and off my body and into the bass guitar. And I guess somehow, some way I shorted out the electronics like second or third song. There was no spare bass, so I'm just up there playing. Nothing's coming out of it, and there was nothing I could do. And I just, mimed it and, just did background vocals, and that was about it.
oh man.
So that was probably the worst that I've ever experienced.
So, have you do you have like a favorite song that you really like playing with a certain artist, or are there
Well,
or
yeah, well, yeah,
individual songs with each artist, or
with every one, it's different. I mean, because they're so variously different from like, Alice Cooper to Rainbow to like even the Happy Together shit and, the oldie stuff to Tommy James. Um, I would have to say though, I mean, really, boy, I mean, really, probably being a crazy Rainbow and Deep Purple fan, probably like, you know, Gates of Babylon was
oh
my
yeah,
favorite song to ever play live,
whole
especially when it was
album.
like, oh my God. It was just sort of like, I'd be getting chills, like while I was playing it. It's just really enjoying every second of it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Or Kill the King. And even Alice, man, sometimes like boy, Gutter Cats versus Jets, that whole thing with the full bass thing in the beginning and yeah, there's just so much great stuff. I've been lucky, man. I've been lucky, to play a lot of really great stuff with the guys who wrote and, originally performed it.
Would you do you have like a dream collaboration that you wish you could put together,
Yeah, me and Jimmy Page.
or
I'm
I'm
waiting
gonna
for
have
it,
to be
man.
looking for
Come
a
on,
game.
Jimmy, buddy, let's go.
Yeah, that's something that
I
guys can't
mean,
beat.
huge Led Zeppelin fan, obviously. John Paul Jones is, to me, and again, like when I said with my, later on getting into Motown and funk and that kind of stuff. Um, I was already a big fan of John Paul Jones, but once I got into the Motown and that kind of stuff, I realized that like, oh my God, that's the way John plays. He was influenced by that. That's why he put that into rock and roll. If you listen to Lemon Song, I mean, that's like very, very, a blues and a Motown influence, that the way he plays that. And to me, it's like it's what he doesn't play. It's where he leaves his spaces that makes it to me that makes the bass player amazing. It's like where you don't play, because it's easy to just play, but where you leave the holes, those little bits and pieces where you leave the spaces, it's just wow.
Do you have any like certain rituals for warming up? Like before a gig?
Um, it depends on the situation, but with Nugent and with Rainbow, yeah, I would grab my bass and probably 20 to 30 minutes before I would just limber up the fingers, and it was just really, it wasn't, there's a couple of riffs that I do to limber up the left hand, and then there's a few little exercises that I do to get the right hand going, and so it's just simple stuff, though. I mean, it's not anything that, like,
Sure.
I mean, maybe the left hand one is kind of cool. And actually, I learned that from Vinnie Moore. It's like it's like a Mixolydian kind of, you know, riff, and I go it up and down the neck, and it's just kind of it limbers every finger up, So, and then for the right hand, it's just sort of like repetitive, like you know.
Yeah.
So,
That's always been a challenge for me when I played bass was using
yeah,
fingers rather than a pick, and you can always tell the difference. Always,
yeah, yeah,
you hear
yeah,
that click from the pick and all that.
yeah.
But so
Well, you know what I do is and there's been, because I never learned to play with a pick. I kind of stick with a pick. Except for like Nugent, he goes stranglehold with a pick, right? I went whatever you want, boss. And so I had to learn to play with a pick. Just stranglehold though, you know. Um but I never learned. I just always learned with I always played with my fingers. So there's been times like recording over the years, doing session work and stuff like that. I've had a producer or something go, can you play that with a pick? And I'd be like, let me try something. You let me know if this is what you're looking for. And I always have a little tiny bit of fingernail, so I
mhm.
just angle my finger and give that fingernail. And they were like, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And I'm like, phew, all right,
See
because I suck with a pick, including Bob Ezrin. Did re-records for Alice with Bob Ezrin, and he asked me to do with a pick. And I was like, can I try something real quick? And he goes, okay, yeah, that's what I'm looking for, you know.
So you got any more funny stories from that you can tell without it causing a divorce or a lawsuit?
Ah, oh, there's a gazillion, but um,
Yeah, I know, but I mean, you still want to be employable.
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I don't know, man. It's just it's always fun, man. I mean, when you put on the spot, you can't like come up with something, but there's
That's true.
a
Yeah, that's
gazillion
not
of them.
fair.
I mean, God, and what's really cool is like having done this, for all my life. When I hook up with people like, let's say, Eric Singer or Derek Sherinian or Steph Burns or any of the guys that I've toured with over the years. um, they've reminded me of a story that reminds me of another story that reminds them of, and it just turns into this whole big thing, and
Snowballs.
stuff that we forgot about that, like, we inspire each other to remember, so.
Okay, here's a non-playing question. Is it hard to sleep on a tour bus?
I'm used to it. I've been doing it my whole life, so it's not that bad. I mean, some people I could get why it sucks. And look, it's not it's not optimal, I mean, I'd rather be in a bed, but yeah, I've been doing it my whole life, so it's not that big of a deal, you know.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you one more question and we'll wrap it up. Is there a song you wish you had written?
Oh God. Yeah, anything from the Beatles, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
anything from Led Zeppelin, my God, yeah. I mean, gosh, so many Deep Purple songs, Rainbow songs. Oh my God, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, you know. Led Zeppelin. Oh my God. Achilles' Last Stand. Are you kidding me? Holy crap, man.
Great
Yeah, there's a
stuff.
million. There's a million of them. And here's the thing, is what when I'm at home, and people think I'm nuts because when I'm at home, I put together some local musicians and I play, you know, some local places. And people are like, why do you do that? I go, well, because when you're on the road, it's a very regimented. You got to play the same set and whatever. And, there's like, you can stretch out a little bit, but, when I play with my band off the road, I call it, um, I always say I play shit that I wish I wrote,
There you go.
you know,
It's
and
like
that's
being a
it, man.
kid
And
in a cover band again.
it covers the gamut. And it's not about money. It's like whatever, man. I like I'll pay the guys in the band like whatever, and I don't give a shit if I make anything. I want to have fun, because I
Sure.
still love it as much as I did when I was 13, 14 years old.
That's
You know.
great. You still crave it like that.
Oh my God, yeah. And my wife thinks I'm a mental patient. She's like, "What are you doing? What are you crazy?" And I'm like,
I'm not even gigging, and my wife thinks I'm a mental patient. All right, Greg. Thanks again. Thanks a million for doing this with me, man. I really
no problem, man. Well, thanks for having me, brother.
I haven't launched this yet. I haven't picked a platform to launch yet, but when
Hmm.
I do, I will let you know. And
Definitely do.
thanks
Awesome.
again. I truly appreciate it.
My pleasure, brother.
You take
All
care
right.
now.
Have a great night.